Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to act as your analytical engine to really distill some fascinating expert reports on the life cycle of establishment. We're tearing down the surface-level, generic advice you usually hear about moving, working, and building wealth in a new environment. Instead, we're going to treat the process of establishing yourself not just as a boring checklist of administrative chores, but as a high-stakes, strategic survival game. You know, whether you're navigating complex immigration systems, buying property, optimizing your taxes, or launching a new business, the margins for error are incredibly thin. Missing a minor detail? Well, that doesn't just mean a delay. It can literally mean tens of thousands of dollars lost, or even losing your legal standing entirely. So, we're going to deeply analyze the core mechanisms and the hidden cause and effect relationships that truly dictate who thrives and who fails in this system. Let's dive in. Here is our analytical roadmap for today. First up, strategy over crowd following. Second, securing your legal status. Third, we'll unpack the home affordability myth. Fourth, navigating U.S. tax fundamentals. Fifth, maximizing your tax returns. And finally, number 6, protecting intellectual property. All right, let's jump right into section 1, strategy over crowd following. Entering a new market requires deliberate strategy, not just herd mentality. Look at this staggering number, $80,000. Yeah, that is the potential financial crater you can fall into if you choose an advanced degree or relocate based on generalized advice, instead of looking at hard market data. We see countless professionals optimizing for cheap tuition or following trends, like, assuming one specific location just has endless tech jobs, only to graduate into a market where their specific role is completely saturated or practically non-existent. You are making a massive financial investment here. Hope absolutely cannot be your strategy. The core dynamic here really debunks the myth that a strong general economy automatically equals personal opportunity. The implicit assumption people make is that just moving to a prosperous location guarantees success, but that is completely false. The non-obvious reality is that success requires absolute, precise alignment between your specific skill set and the localized demand of that exact market. If you're a highly specialized data engineer, moving to a region that is only hiring in logistics or construction is a recipe for failure, no matter how booming the overall economy happens to be. Moving right along to section 2, securing your legal status. Historically, adjusting your legal status meant mailing these massive, bulky packets of paper. Now, this intimidating procedure is actually a streamlined digital intake process. And understanding this mechanism gives you a massive advantage. You essentially complete your primary application forms locally on your computer as a PDF. When you upload them to the federal portal, an artificial intelligence system immediately validates the form for completeness, catching errors before you even hit submit. Your digital signature is then applied automatically across all the forms, and you just process the payment online. It drastically reduces the structural friction of the entire process. However, digital absolutely doesn't mean lenient. The evidentiary checklist is incredibly strict. But here is the hidden trap, the real catch that most people completely miss. If you move, you have exactly 10 days to report your new address, or your legal status is at severe risk. And simply notifying the primary immigration authority isn't enough. You actually have to fill out separate, distinct forms for the visa center, the legal court, and your financial sponsor. Missing even one of these completely separate notifications can instantly break your continuous lawful status and derail years of hard-earned progress. Beyond just the convenience, there is a very tangible reward for understanding this digital system. By utilizing the concurrent online filing process for your primary application and employment authorization, you leverage a distinct filing discount. Instead of paying over $3,000 for the traditional paper route, your baseline fee drops to exactly $2,855. In the life cycle of establishment, capitalizing on these systemic efficiencies is exactly how you keep operating capital in your own pocket. Okay, let's pivot to section 3, the home affordability myth.
There is this massive psychological pressure to buy property the absolute second you start making good money, right? But look at the stark contrast between what a bank says you can afford and true affordability. Bank approvals are stress tested against maximum gross income ratios, which often pushes housing costs to 30% or more of your pre-tax pay. If your legal status is tied to your employment, your total housing cost should be strictly capped at 20 to 25% of your net income. The gap between side A and side B on the screen, that's literally the difference between retaining wealth and becoming hopelessly house poor. So the ultimate litmus test is this. If you lose your visa-dependent job, you immediately trigger a harsh 60-day grace period to find new employment or leave the country. Under that immense pressure, you absolutely cannot be worried about defaulting on a massive mortgage. Therefore, your emergency runway must mathematically equal at least 1 full year of housing costs saved up in liquid accounts before you even consider buying. This provides the crucial runway to make smart career decisions without total desperation. Furthermore, we really have to look at the mechanics of equity. Buying a home without a rock-solid commitment to stay in that exact location for at least 6 to 10 years is practically a guaranteed financial loss. Year 1 brings massive closing costs. If you're forced to sell by year 3 due to a job change, well, market fluctuations plus the 5 to 6% in realtor fees mean you will very likely owe money at the closing table. Renting is often dismissed as throwing money away, but in reality, you are paying a calculated premium for vital geographic flexibility. Which brings us to Section 4, Navigating U.S. Tax Fundamentals. Navigating the bureaucracy of wealth requires a really deep understanding of tax compliance mechanisms. We need to dismantle this dangerous myth immediately. Getting an automatic extension to October 15th grants you more time to file your paperwork, but it does absolutely nothing to extend your time to pay what you owe. If you owe taxes, that capital is due in April, period. If you discover a mistake later on, you generally have a strict 3-year window to file an amended return to correct the record and claim any owed refund. To really grasp why that distinction matters, let's look at the actual penalty mechanics. The penalty for failing to pay your taxes on time is 0.5% per month. But the penalty for failing to file your return on time, that's a massive 5% per month. Mathematically, failing to file is 10 times more punitive than failing to pay. The implicit rule here is crystal clear. The government wants your data first and foremost. Always file your return or an extension on time, even if you can't afford the full tax bill that day. Now, if you do happen to miss a deduction, fixing it utilizes a highly logical amended return process. It relies on a strict 3-column mechanism. Column A acts as your baseline, showing your originally reported figures. Column B isolates the exact variable you are changing, the specific increase or decrease. And column C provides the newly corrected totals. By structuring it exactly this way, the system easily audits the precise delta of your correction, allowing for a clean, verifiable adjustment. All right, Section 5, maximizing your tax returns. To retain your wealth offensively, you've got to navigate the incredibly strict anti-fraud rules surrounding dependent care credits. Many professionals pay for childcare, but the mechanism to claim the credit is rigid. The care must specifically enable you to work. If you're married, you are forced into a joint filing status. And most importantly, you cannot just pay a neighbor under the table in cash and expect a federal credit. You must supply the caregiver's official tax ID. The documentation has to be absolutely airtight. Staying current with expert analysis reveals these temporary windows of opportunity designed specifically to lower taxable income. For example, recent legislative tax packages have introduced some powerful, highly specific levers: a $6,000 bonus deduction for qualifying seniors, allowances to direct up to $5,000 into tax-advantaged accounts for minors, and a deduction allowing up to $10,000 for interest paid on certain domestic auto loans. These aren't permanent fixtures. They are temporary deductions that require proactive planning to capture before they expire.
Now, here's a major warning regarding some of the newer, complex income deductions, like those targeting qualified tips or overtime pay. These rely entirely on immaculate payroll documentation. The underlying mechanism here is verifiable employer reporting. You cannot just guess your overtime hours or estimate your cash tips. The numbers you claim must mathematically reconcile with the precise data your employer submits to the government. Without that structural alignment, you're essentially just inviting an audit.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, Protecting Intellectual Property.
As you transition into ownership and entrepreneurship, it is absolutely vital to clear up the dangerous confusion between copyrights and trademarks. They serve entirely distinct legal functions. Copyrights protect original creative works, like videos or code, automatically the moment they are created. Trademarks, on the other hand, act as the shield for your commercial brand identity. A trademark requires federal approval, and its sole purpose is to prevent consumer confusion out in the marketplace. And that leads us to the most common failure point for new ventures, the logo trap. Founders very often assume that holding a copyright on the graphic design of their logo makes their entire brand safe. It does not. A copyright only stops someone from literally copying and pasting your exact drawing. It does absolutely nothing to stop a competitor from using a similarly named company or a similar vibe to siphon away your customers. To secure the exclusive right to operate under that commercial identity, you have to secure a federal trademark. Every single phase of establishment we've discussed today, from market alignment and legal status to real estate strategy, tax compliance, and asset protection, requires intentional action and verifiable data, not just generic assumptions. So I want to leave you with this thought to challenge your own setup. Is your foundational framework completely secure and legally airtight? Or are you currently navigating blind spots, just hoping you don't get caught out? Audit your life cycle of establishment today and make sure you base your strategy on solid mechanisms, not myths.